Welcome to Remarkable. I'm Buddhima. I'm a SaaS product manager and co-founder based out of Austin, Texas.
Hi everyone, my name is Chalender. I'm a venture capitalist based out of here in Sri Lanka, and I've been working with startups for about 15 years in Sri Lanka. And today we have Dumindu from the co-founder and CEO for 4-Axis Solutions, who I met many years ago when he was a university student. And welcome, Dumindu. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Charlie, for the introduction and having me in Remarkable.
So, Dumindu, just starting off, can you give us an introduction to yourself?
Sure. So I'm Dumindu Kanankage, CEO of 4Axis, and we started out our company back in 2012, as Charlie mentioned, when we were at the University of Monaco, at the third year. If I tell you exactly, so that's the starting point of our journey. So we have been building creative tools mainly for the past many years, and we have over 50 million plus downloads worldwide right now, mainly in US and China.
Going to the beginning of your story, how did all of this start? What inspired you to start on 4Axis?
So when we were at the university, we were learning stuff, and we were always looking to build creative stuff, not specifically creative tools, games, and software tools that we can engage and be creative with it. So that was the starting point. We built creative tools for Java J2ME phones back then, with Sony and everything. So I was always inspired of building mobile applications, and my co-founders too. So that was the starting point. And parallelly, there was this program introduced to our university called from the MIT in US, MIT University. So we also was lucky enough to get partnered, get into that program and learn for about 6 weeks about what is uh, what is a what is to build a startup, and what is actually entrepreneurship back then. So that was the starting point.
So this was in 2012 or was it
This was in the 2011 actually.
11? Sorry, a year before.
That's the idea stage, initial idea stage, but we incorporated our company in 2012.
Just to dive into about the company overview right now. I mean, you mentioned 50 million downloads, right? And primarily US and China market. These are the two biggest markets in the world. Can you give a little bit about, a bit more insights into, traction? So what stage are you in your company? Have you raised capital, or is this bootstrapped? And, even revenue numbers, if you are, happy to share that now, those numbers, and how many employees you have, and is it just one product or is there many products? A little bit more insights into the company overview.
So 50 million is over the 10 years that we have run the company, but it has accumulated mostly within the last 4 to 5 years. As when we started out in 2012-13, we released Drawing Desk, our flagship product, in 2013. So back then, it got kind of like a boost in the App Store in the early stages, but it actually died down eventually. But that gave us a spark to work closely with the product. So that kept us going on how building many updates after the first release. So currently we are running to about more than 200 updates to the app. So over the years, so within that time span, we focused on US, and we are currently in the iPad graphic and design category, in the top three in the graphic and design category in US and many other countries. So we actually wanted to try and rank higher in the graphic and design category. That's what we wanted to do from the beginning. We started out at the low end, and we wanted to build a better product, and we worked towards it. So we reached that milestone in US, and so China we actually focused within the last 3 or maybe 4 years. So after within these last 3 to 4 years, we created some localized content, and we localized many things in our application that actually catered to rank in the Chinese App Store in Apple App Store. So those are the effort that we put, but I think I couldn't tell you the effort that we put in the 10 years. We actually rebuilt many times. The drawing desk we rebuilt like 3 or 4 times. Our drawing engine has been rebuilt 3 or 4 times.
And every time you did it from ground up, is it?
Yeah, because Apple itself changes. Like they introduced Swift, back then it was Objective C, and then Xcode and everything. The developing ecosystem is also changing with the 10 years time. So we actually adapted to it, and we had to move on with the Apple ecosystem, and also the Google. So mainly Apple. So we had to develop ourselves as well.
So how big is your team right now?
So currently we have about 50 to 50 plus employees with us, and the revenue numbers. So we actually are running at a rate a few millions in US dollars in a year. So that's our revenue number. Yeah,
Brilliant. And you said 50 employees, correct?
yeah, 50 plus. Yes,
50 plus, and they're predominantly, is that distributed across the globe or all of them here in Sri Lanka?
all of them are working in Sri Lanka. Yes.
Amazing stuff. And your primary product, Drawing Desk. If you just explain what Drawing Desk is, what do you do with Drawing Desk for somebody who's listening in?
Yes, sir. So our company always wanted to build a creative tool set, as I said earlier. So Drawing Desk is the beginner product for a creative. If you are starting out drawing, sketching or doodling, and Drawing Desk is the best product that's out there in the App Store, that you can get started really easily. Even if you want to learn how to draw, we provide step by step drawing lessons. And if you want to color, there are coloring pages. So if you just want to have a sketch, there are lots of tools that build for it, but not at the pro level. So it is just to get started and to begin your creative journey. So we actually released our professional tool as well, Sketch Pro, just 1 month back. So it is also catching up with Drawing Desk. So currently it is ranking, I think, number 15 in the iPad in US in graphic and design.
Right, and that's just within 1 month.
Yeah, that's within 1 month. Yes. Sketch Pro targets the pros. So that's our entry point for the professional artist and illustrators. So from now onwards, we will have like actually two audiences to cater with Drawing Desk for the beginner and the and Sketch Pro for the pros.
And what would you say is unique about your products? Because you mentioned you guys are in the top three, so sounds like there are some other apps out there as well. Where do you think you stand out?
I think the ease of use is the first thing that we think why we are ranking. And actually, the app is actually organically grew. Drawing Desk, we didn't actually, we can't. Even if I want to change our main view, I can't do it. So simply because our users might not use it. So we actually tried few times and failed it. That's how Drawing Desk has been built over the years. So we test a lot of things, A/B test a lot of things. So we have come to a place where we are building things that people will use, and we will remove things that people will not be using. So we are doing that as of now as well. So we will be removing few features in the future that has like less activity. So that's how that's the organic growth that we from the product side of things that we have been doing. Yes.
So on your website, I noticed that some of your products are using AI. Can you talk us through what aspect and how you guys are doing it?
Yes, we actually worked with machine learning for a few years now, and we have been working with few tools that specialize in the design or the related to us. So one thing is AI sketching, the colorization. So once you do a sketch, you can colorize it within 5 to 10 seconds, giving the hints, or it will auto colorize as well. So that's like it's an assisted AI. So it's not generating the image itself with a prompt without any creative input to it. But what we have done is like we take the input of the artist and then assist it with the AI. So in the future we will release few more AI tools that will be like assisted AI in the creative journey.
So those are using your own models.
Yeah, and using our models and some open source as well.
In terms of your customers, sounds like most of them come through the App Store. Are there any other channels?
Yeah, mainly it's Apple App Store, but Google is also one of our channels that we distribute our application. So recently we are working. We are updating our engine. It's because it's two engines we have to build for iOS and we have to build for Android. So it's actually resource wise, Android is really taking a higher resource than building for iOS because it's fragmented. So Android is something that we are hoping that will take a upward trajectory in the future. So we are also building Android as well. Google Play. We have over 10 million downloads for Android. Google Play. So Google is also one of our major distribution platforms, and even Huawei App Gallery. Traffic is like based on paid and organic. It's around 60 to 40% in paid channels and 60% in organic these days. But it has been changing over the years. Initially, for around 5 years straight, we only had organic. We didn't do any paid marketing. Evolving in the App Store, I think App Store doesn't allow organic growth easily now. So even if you publish an application right now with full of features or a really great feature product, you won't get that far. Even if you look at like featured products by Apple itself, they have not gone that far. That indicates that if you don't follow a combination of both ASO, doing ASO, organic and paid, everything together will only like take you further.
And I'm assuming because you guys were early in the game, because you said this was 2010, you had that first mover kind of advantage for a longer time, and you were able to build that. That's brilliant. Who are your customers, or when I say customers or the users, what are their backgrounds? Are they students? How do you acquire these people, and how do you retain them?
Students are there. So, but when we are saying customers, we tend to mistake uh, who actually our customers are paid customers. So even if you get 10,000 downloads per day that we are getting now, it's only about 600,000 people will get a free trial, and from that free trial to the actual paid, it will also have another conversion. So actual customers would be like around 500 to 600 people from a 10,000 pool. So what we basically do is we actually use different user acquisition channels like Apple Ads, Google, Iron Source, Apple. There are lots of channels that we use. In Drawing Desk, female is the major user segment. So it's actually around more than 60 plus. But I think in the Sketch Pro, we will have a balanced user base as it's targeted towards Pro. Maybe a typical user may use the application for about 15 minutes. That's the engagement time that we have for 15 minutes. But as a drawing application, we see some users are using a one session straight for more than 1 hour or maybe 2 hours as well. So that has also caused us some crashes as well. In terms of like paid users, we have users who have paid for few years. So they have paid for the yearly subscription in 2 years back, and currently also using the application. So we have that traction. Stickiness, yeah, stickiness is there, but we would love to improve that number.
So sounds like there's a decent amount of revenue coming in. Would you say you guys are a profitable company? What was that journey like?
Did I mention we are currently bootstrapping? So we have to maintain profitable. We have never raised any money up to now. In the future, we are hoping to raise. So as of now, we had to maintain the profitability.
Kudos to you for kind of bootstrapping and growing a business for 50 people. That's insane. That's remarkable. What's your day like? You also mentioned your co-founders, so it'll be good for us to also understand who's with you as co-founders and your team.
So the day has been changing from the university life to now. Because university life, it was like single. Now I have two kids, and so I had to do that family stuff as well. But in terms of like co-founders, I mean, we started with four co-founders: me, Madhav, Anuruddha, and Kapila. So as of now, only two are continuing, me and Madhav. So we do, I mean, all sorts of operational stuff in a day. So mainly, so we have actually divided some parts of our company, how what and how we are going to do within the day, and who are going to go for the meetings, as some product meetings, some marketing meetings. So there are, so that's how we are managing the day.
And who's responsible for the product?
Products, the ideation, we always discuss within ourselves, and when we are executing it, mainly engineering team and everything, I handle mostly, but user acquisition and marketing has been doing by Mother.
Talking a little bit about the future, we like to use the word, what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? And how might you get there?
We have been building our own creative engine for many years, and we just released our professional tool, which we think we can compete with other global products that's out there. So beyond this point, what we are thinking of is scaling even further and building a workflow that can within our product suite. So an artist can use our set of tools, creative tools, within the workflow. So it might be in the iPad, and maybe the web, and maybe in the VR. So we are looking forward to it. Even in VR, we have been doing few things, and but in the future we are going to put more effort into that as well.
Have you seen an impact with all of the, the AI stuff that has been picking up with Midjourney and things like that?
Actually, we didn't have any impact as of now, but I think it will have in the future. So most people would want to have AI features in every tool. So we have few AI tools as of now. So developing images completely with the prompt might be a use case of many users, but as of professionals, I don't know whether how it will fit. So going into the future, I think it will be an interesting question to tackle, and we will definitely will be part of it as well as we are building creative tools.
Because your target audience is the creatives, right? So they want to express their creativity.
Yeah, creatives will not be like extinct in the near future, right? So AI will be there, and creatives will also be there. So creatives mainly want to increase the productivity with the AI tools, not like replace the imaginary part of it. So currently, the DALI and Midjourney, everything will is kind of replacing the imaginary part of creating. So you just type it, and imaginary part will be taken care of by the AI. It will be an interesting thing to look forward to, but and I think there will be more opportunities as well.
Do you speak to your customers? Are there anything interesting you've learned from them?
Yes, we don't like speak to them, but we normally exchange emails, and even the review section. We normally try to reply to each and every review. So that we are doing. Yes.
Um, Mindu, we have quite a bit of aspiring entrepreneurs now. As you know, even in Sri Lanka, it's very different to the days where you guys started. Now even university, everybody is kind of experimenting it purely, after inspired by people like you who have started. And we also have similar folks, watching our channel as well. You mentioned you started off with four co-founders, and now two are continuing. So I have a question around the co-founder chemistry, and this is so hard. So what have you learned? Who does what? How do you split work among your co-founders? What worked and what didn't work, and what did you kind of, looking back, you can say from hindsight, okay, I wish we did these things 10 years ago. What would that be like?
So currently, we are running as a company for 10 years. So we started as four co-founders, and we ran for about four plus years as four co-founders. We actually did really well. I mean, back then we couldn't find any inspiration within our circle, even reaching out to beyond circle in the university itself. We couldn't find anyone who have actually done a startup. Even we didn't hear that startup word in that time frame that often. So actually getting together and creating a company was the thing that we always wanted to do. So four of us always wanted to do that, and we started out, and we initially we when we think now when we think back, just before we go out from the university. Normally, the others have like high paying salary jobs, and so we as a four co-founders couldn't even pay ourselves. So we had to hire. And we wanted to hire one person as our first employee. So we actually underpaid for I think first 1.5 years, or maybe like really low. So we are talking about people who could have done it better, better, and earn a higher salary back then. So to working together for like that for even for 4 years, 4+ years is a tough ask. So the foundation was set at that level. So the even now there are people who are working with us for 6+ years, 7+years. So there are, the continuation has been there, and like co-founder chemistry is definitely a thing, and we actually had it. So why four co-founders to two co-founders? It's basically for the life circumstances. So one had to move to Australia, and Kapilan is still in Sri Lanka, but he's not running with us as a company, but we are together.
Interesting. If you had to restart everything, what's that one quality from a chemistry, like a co-founder chemistry standpoint, that you would look for?
Yeah, so back then, I think Madhav and Avnudha, everyone, without except Kapilan, I was thinking in terms of, we were developers, we were software engineers. So developing something was the main idea we had for about first year to second year, around that time. So we built drawing desk and few other
Sorry, you all met in the university, right?
university. Yeah, yeah. So when we focus as a developer point of view, you will get out a product, but you don't know how to distribute it. So there were few failures at the initial stage, and we wasted few valuable effort and resources. And I think Kapil was the only person, and we inspired a lot from him as well. So who actually, wanted to sell and actually wanted to distribute, and from him we learned back. So the chemistry has been going really well for us. Even Kapilan is still coming for events and everything. So it has been there from the start, and we can learn from the other co-founders, and that's what we have had been doing from the start as well. So initially we built few other apps, and we couldn't get the traction. So mainly because we were only building it without thinking about distribution.
Right. I think you touched upon this a bit in the beginning, but what was that aha moment? What was that milestone or turning point that you realized Desk is going to be big, and we've struck gold. We need to kind of pursue this. What was that moment? What really happened?
Yes. So when we released Drawing Dash back in 2013, we got few downloads. I mean, 3,000 downloads within a short period of time. It actually died down, but 3,000 downloads was a big thing for us. So we didn't have any downloads previously, and we didn't have any experience getting, and it came from mainly US.
Right. So how did that happen?
So I think back then Apple sometimes pick apps and get it into top places if they think it's worthy enough. So we were picked and we were placed in a location where we get the exposure for a certain period of time. So after that it died down, but that initial spark actually gave us that we could build something and ship it to US. I mean that was the sparking moment.
And then that's when you started kind of double down and start building everything. Can you also talked about something that you believed in your heart and soul, you put in, but it turned out to be completely wrong? You kind of missed the bus on the whole thing. I'm sure there are multiple of it, but what would be the kind of like the biggest mistake where you said you knew that this was it?
Yes, so I think there are a few. So as I said earlier, so there was a time where we focused in a developer mindset. We actually wanted to build some games and we will build some other photo applications. So at that time we built it and we published it to the App Store, hoping that there was a spark similar to Drawing and we could get the traction and all at the same level. But it didn't happen. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to like focus, narrow down on one thing. So it took us about 1 to 2 years. So to get to that, we had to burn few valuable time and resources as well. So, but I don't know whether it's actually you can say it's a learning curve. I think everyone has to go through that. I don't know.
Throughout your journey, because you're bootstrapped, right? You haven't raised any money. Did you have any mentors?
Yes, in terms of like from the MIT GSL program back in 2011, Professor Saman Amar Singh from MIT have been in touch with us for many years and continue to do so. Right now, I mean, very much into it. So we can like expose more details in the future as well regarding it. So yes, Professor Saman he is one of the main thing, and also Dr. Sanjeev from WSO2. So those two, yeah, were the mentors that we actually closely worked with.
Looking forward and also kind of looking backwards, like what are your kind of main concerns? What are you worried about? What are, what we like to say, what keeps you up at night? Yeah, other than your children. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's also a major thing. I mean, the life is changing, and how to adapt and build the startup is also a separate challenge for founders. If you can master it, that's also a good thing for you. I think I understood that doing this for the last few years. If you can manage the family life and do the startup pretty well, that's a good thing. So you miss some part of it. So one thing would be to I mean adapt to the technological changes that's going on right now. There are different battles that we have to battle right now. The AI battle, and then I think the VR battle also is starting up. So AI and the VR we are like somewhat promising, and at the same time maybe a challenge as well. You can get over enthusiastic and put a lot of effort, and maybe you get hit with the cash flow, and you can maybe die down in the next few years. So that's also a possibility, but that's a risk that some founders need to take, and we also will be taking few risks along that technological path in the future. So that's something that we are looking forward to.
Being in the startup world, sometimes it's a sprint, sometimes it's a marathon. How do you take care of yourself, both mentally and physically?
Yeah, I think mentally, my family and my kids are the calming factor. At the same time, they are the problem. So so the mentally, that's the only thing that I can say. And maybe working with my co-founder mother for a few days, and like playing some games as well. So other than that, working is something that I am passionate about, and in our working space that we have built is also something that we built, that even if you are coming from a hectic road traffic, even if you step into our office space, you will get a feel fresh moment, and you can start working. So it's nice to be working at the office. That's something that I really love as well.
Was there something, whether in your childhood or during even now building this company, Four Axis Solution, what really shaped you? What was that? Was there a particular moment, or it can be in school, home, whatever, right? Something that really made a lasting impression and helped to shape who you are today, that you feel, okay, this is my identity. This is probably, you have to kind of look back. For most of us, when you look back only you realize these things, but what is that one thing?
Personally, if I take Dumindu as I mean in the school, I participated in organizing things, and we actually did few things collaboratively. Even in when we are running as a startup, actually it also helped me with those school friends as well. I mean, there are lots of people who helped within that school time period and continue to do so. So that bonding was also there from the school time to now. So the inspiration, so how I actually wanted to uh, be a co-founder. So we actually wanted to do something together. That was the idea when we are at the third year. We were doing projects. We were doing some in outside projects as well together. So the challenger knows that as well. So we always wanted to do something together and collaborate. So that actually shaped us to work together towards a goal. And then we actually worked pretty well. And that was the. I mean, I couldn't find a one thing that I can remember, but I think continuously working for different teams, even if it is a small thing, working for say, maybe organizing the science day, and there are several things that we have been part of. So those things I think shaped me to think and work collaboratively and build a team.
Right. So teamwork, that has been the common kind of denominator throughout your school, university, and that's the one that you also enjoy. That's the one thing that's really cool.
Moving on to the next section. So we call this the rapid fire section. What's a piece of content that left a mark on you? So this could be books, videos, something somebody shared.
The speech that Steve Jobs actually had at the Stanford, I think that was the sparking thing, yeah, content.
What's something people don't know about you or get wrong about you or might be surprised to find out about you?
I use like a lot of tools to organize my daily stuff, but I don't use. Maybe that
Do you tell people to use tools, but you don't use them?
maybe because we have lots of tools to manage the productivity inside the company, but I may be using only note taking tools. Yes.
What's a widely accepted norm that you disagree with?
If we narrow it down to like Sri Lankans, mainly people think Sri Lanka is an island, so island thinkers are not like narrow-minded. Like most people think Sri Lankans are island mentality, and they are narrow-minded. So that I think it's a wrong thing. So right now, I mean, at this day and age, so maybe few hundred years back, without when people don't have internet, and English is also not a global language. But right now, Sri Lanka, I think, can be a hub where products are developed, not like projects. I mean, we don't have to export labor; we can export products. So that's a no. I mean, that's a no. I mean, even if we uh, think about IT export, we normally think about labor export, IT labor export. I think that's a norm. I don't know whether it's relevant. But that's a norm that we hear from the experts in the export development area in the country. But I think we can develop products and go global. I mean, that's something that we also want to hear.
Yeah, I've also used it myself as well to describe Sri Lanka sometimes. We tend to say we have island mentality, but I think when you compare the younger generation, because of the internet and then they are connected, they don't have that island mentality. That's very, very interesting. And I think that's a very valid point of view.
How would your critics describe you, and how would your supporters describe you?
I actually don't know how my critics describe me. Because we actually don't we have not been talking like this to many people. I mean, we have been talking to Charlie and maybe few other channels, but other than that, and maybe 5 to 6 years ago as well. So
And your supporters, what do they say?
How would they describe you as a person?
so if I take my like very really close friends and close relatives that have been with me for the whole journey. I mean, they think right now, they think I can do many things. That's what they think right now. So they don't actually question back a lot of things. So if I tell something, they might agree upon. So that's something that recently that's been the case. So
You have that halo effect. Everybody thinks you're like a saint.
yeah. So in the recent past, that has been the case. So that's actually somewhat supportive, but I don't like it as well.
Any final thoughts you wish to share on our platform, and anything that we can do for you or our listeners can do for you? How can we help you, either personally or as to help grow for access?
As a company that grew from Sri Lanka, like we educated in Sri Lanka, we have been in Sri Lanka doing this, and we have built a product and marketed in US successfully, and China and several other countries. So that actually shows that people in Sri Lanka, or entrepreneurs or the founders in Sri Lanka, can go global. So support that in any way, maybe as a review, as a comment, and maybe a share if you're listening in. So that's also a big help for any founder that have built something and gone global. If you're listening in any other country, and in terms of like funding, I think Charlie is also working and heavily on this to boost the landscape of investment. Yes, we tried few times back as well. One time very specifically to fundraise, but the ecosystem is still growing. So funding is also one thing that may be really needful for the founders and budding entrepreneurs. So that those two things might help to grow their companies.
Thank you so much, Domindu, for joining, and kudos once again. Bootstrapping a company, growing it to 60 million, right? You have 50 million on iOS and another 10 million on Android. So it's actually a 60 million users, doing several $1 million of revenue, bringing in dollars to Sri Lanka at this critical juncture. Kudos to you and the 50 plus others who's been part of this journey, and all the power to you. Thank you for joining. Remarkable.